Welcome to Learn with Naitik. Our channel's whole purpose is to help you unlock your true potential through powerful ideas, continuous growth, and absolutely crucial, essential financial education. Today we've got something incredibly special for you. It's a comprehensive, documentary-style explainer diving into literally one of the most legendary personal finance books of all time, Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Over the next few minutes, we're going to break down the foundational wealth-building concepts from this book. We'll explore exactly what the rich teach their kids about money, and more importantly, how you can actually escape the daily grind. So here is our roadmap for unpacking this whole complex financial philosophy step by step. We're going from the tale of two dads to escaping the rat race, assets versus liabilities, minding your own business, growing that financial IQ, and finally, overcoming obstacles to wealth. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. A Tale of Two Dads, Contrasting Financial Mindsets. Let's start with the fascinating story that really sets the foundation for everything we're about to talk about. So, the author, Robert Kiyosaki, had this really unique luxury of growing up with two totally different, powerful role models. First, his biological father, who he calls his poor dad. Now, this guy was highly educated, had a PhD, went to Stanford, made great money, yet he always struggled financially. Then there was his best friend's father, his rich dad. This man was an 8th grade dropout, but get this, he went on to become one of the wealthiest men in Hawaii. Notice the absolute stark contrast in how they talked. The poor dad's statements literally shut down thinking. Saying I can't afford it is just, well, it's a statement of defeat, right? It puts your brain right to sleep. But consider the alternative. The rich dad's approach, asking, how can I afford it, forces your brain to work. He believed that mental exercise actually increases your chances for wealth, and that automatically saying you can't afford something is just a sign of mental laziness. This fundamental difference in mindset, it's exactly why the rich don't just work for money. They figure out how to make money work for them.
Okay, moving on to Section 2, Escaping the Rat Race, the Trap of Fear and Greed. This mindset stuff is vital because it dictates whether you get stuck in a vicious cycle.
So, what exactly is the rat race? Well, it's that endless, exhausting pattern, right? You get up, you go to work, you pay your bills. It's a trap, completely controlled by two very human emotions, fear and greed. The fear of not paying bills or, being fired keeps people working at a job they might absolutely hate. And then, when payday comes, joy and greed take over. People go out, buy a new car, or maybe a bigger TV. And that just leads to increased spending, more debt, and totally perpetuates this endless hamster wheel. They're just reacting emotionally instead of using their heads.
Kiyosaki's Rich Dad emphasized a really powerful point here. Without handling fear and desire first, acquiring more money doesn't actually solve your problems. It just makes you a highly paid slave to a paycheck. You literally just end up with bigger bills and way more anxiety. True wealth is about recognizing those emotions, taking a step back, and refusing to let the fear of being poor dictate your life. Now, real quick, if you're finding value in this explainer so far, please take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to Learn with Naitik. It helps us immensely and ensures we can keep bringing you this kind of top-tier educational content.
Right, let's jump into Section 3, Assets versus Liabilities, the Golden Rule. This is where we learn the core mechanism to actually break free.
It sounds absurdly simple, I know, but here is the ultimate golden rule. An asset puts money in my pocket, a liability takes money out of my pocket. Most people struggle financially because they just do not know the difference. They buy liabilities, think an expensive house or a shiny new car, and they mistakenly think they're buying assets. But a house requires a mortgage, maintenance, property taxes. It takes money out of your pocket every single month.
Now, this perfectly illustrates the path of the wealthy. The cash flow of the rich focuses entirely on acquiring true assets that generate money straight into their income statement. They aren't sitting around relying on a boss for a 3% raise. No way. Their assets are generating passive income day in and day out, working for them around the clock. To put that into perspective, consider how the rich spend their time. They are acquiring true assets, real estate, dividend-paying stocks, intellectual property. The middle class, on the other hand, well, they get totally bogged down acquiring heavy liabilities, massive mortgages, huge car payments, and just a mountain of consumer debt. Ultimately, your goal has got to be spending your life acquiring genuine assets, building a rock-solid balance sheet instead of just endlessly chasing a higher salary to pay for more stuff that drains your wallet.
Okay, Section 4. Mind your own business. Building your asset column. Once you get that golden rule, this is the very next step. Now, a lot of people confuse their profession with their business. Being a banker or a lawyer, that's a profession. Your actual business is your asset column. Minding your own business doesn't necessarily mean you have to quit your job today and go start the next massive company. Not at all. It means keeping your daytime job to pay your immediate bills while keeping your personal expenses aggressively low. With your leftover cash, you diligently build a base of solid assets. Think of every single dollar in your asset column as a 24/7 employee. Those dollars don't need sleep, they don't take holidays, and they work across generations to make you richer.
Over time, this completely flips how you build wealth. You see, the rich buy luxuries last. The poor and middle class, they tend to buy luxuries first just to look rich. But the truly long-term wealthy let the income generated by their hardworking assets pay for their luxuries rather than financing them with their own sweat and debt. So if you want a nice car, you don't go buy it on credit. You buy an asset first that generates enough cash flow to pay for that car. Pretty brilliant, right?
Moving to Section 5, Growing Your Financial IQ, the 4 pillars. To safely acquire these assets, spot opportunities others completely miss, and protect your money from heavy taxes, you need to develop what Kiyosaki calls your financial IQ.
Your financial IQ is essentially made up of these 4 distinct areas of expertise. First, accounting. That's your ability to read numbers and financial statements. Second, investing, the actual science of making money. Third is markets, understanding supply, demand, and broader economic conditions. And fourth, law, specifically understanding corporate tax advantages. Together, these give you the creative power to turn financial lemons into millions. This is why you should always prioritize working to learn these skills over simply working for a steady paycheck.
Building this deep knowledge is what allows true capitalists to migrate across the cash flow quadrant. See, most people are stuck on the employee or self-employed side, where they are heavily taxed. The wealthy, they move over to the business owner or investor side. They take advantage of legal corporate structures, which honestly are just legal documents sitting in a filing cabinet, to protect their wealth and pay expenses with pre-tax dollars. While the middle class just sits there letting the government tax their hard-earned income, the rich are playing the game way smarter through corporations.
All right, Section 6, Overcoming Obstacles to Wealth, Managing Fear and Habits. Because even if you totally master your financial IQ, you still have to overcome the psychological barriers that hold so many people back.
What's really interesting here is that these 5 obstacles affect absolutely everyone. Yes, even rich people fear losing money. The real difference lies in how they manage that fear without resorting to bad habits. They don't let cynicism cloud their vision. And they certainly don't let laziness disguise itself as being too busy to look at their finances. They also know that arrogance is just ego combined with ignorance.
Just listen to this incredible idea. Dipping into savings is a poor habit. To successfully get started with your wealth plan, like finding mentors and actively making offers in the market, you have to be tough inside. You have to act like a soldier defending fort assets. You ensure you never, ever deplete your wealth-building funds just to cover ordinary, everyday expenses. You pay yourself first, and you literally force your brain to figure out how to cover the rest.
So, let's quickly recap our biggest takeaways today. Recognize the emotional trap of the rat race. Strictly separate the assets that pay you from the liabilities that drain you. Mind your own business by building that asset column. Leverage corporations for tax advantages. And continuously grow your financial IQ by working to learn. As we conclude this explainer, I leave you with this final, vital question to consider about your own financial future. Will you exercise your mind to make money work for you? Thank you so much for tuning in to Learn with Naitik. Please drop a comment below with your biggest takeaway from the book. Make sure to like and subscribe, and as always, keep learning, keep growing.